What is the most backhanded compliment you've received or given? My ex used me as an example of unconventional beauty, saying that he loved me despite my features, not because of them. Frick you tag. Yeah, frick him and his name I can't pronounce in my head. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I'm sitting on the floor. Me. Give me a second to get up. I'm an old lady. Student. AWW Mrs. Momo. You're not old. You're fat. The most backhanded I ever saw was on a writing forum I used to frequent. The exchange pretty much went, your work is really good, for a beginner, thanks, but I've actually been doing this professionally for about 3 years, I know, crap went down. Right in the career. You look like you're married. Me. Why? Because you're really handsome, but look like you let yourself go. Holy crap, I love that. I'd honestly enjoy hearing that in retrospect. At least you have room for improvement, lol. From my professor, leading a large ensemble rehearsal. If you thought that sounded good, you should have been in the audience. Took me about 3 years to get it. That's less a backhanded compliment and more a subtle insult. As a guy in a wheelchair, I get way too many, you're handsome for a guy in a wheelchair, especially when I was on the dating prowl. This was way too common, and a very easy way for me to lose interest. You're smart, ambitious, hardworking, etc. for a guy in a wheelchair. I've been told more than once that it's admirable that I go to school and work instead of live off the government. Being congratulated for doing basically any everyday task. For example, opening a door, picking up something off the floor. You're handsome for a fat guy. Worst part was that I was the lightest I'd been pretty much my whole life, like only 10 pounds overweight. At work, and a co-worker told us he was going home for the weekend, different state. Someone in the group responded with, "Oh good, that will increase the average IQ in both states." We worked in Maryland and he was from West Virginia. That's just good-natured ball busting though. I'm running circles around the formation of cadets, trying to encourage them to not fall out of the slow but little run we were on. Female cadet says, "Gosh, sir, I wish my dad was in as good of shape as you. Shut up and keep running, cadet." I don't get it. My grandmother called me on the day of my high school graduation and told me congratulations on not dropping out of high school. Thanks, I'm glad you were still alive to see it. I was leaving the company and the head of HR comes to say, "When you started here I thought you were slow, but I was wrong." Okay, so this wasn't given to me or by me, but I overheard this one, and it is brilliant and also fits here. A very lazy teacher, LT, was applying for a teaching position at another school and had put their current principal as their top reference. The new school called LT's current principal to ask about LT as an employee. So, LT's principal is in a tough spot here, almost a catch-22. They would like to get rid of LT because they're not exactly a good teacher employee, but if the principal actually says that, then the new school will never hire them, take LT off their hands. So, LT's principal responds in an absolutely perfect manner. "You would be lucky to get LT to work for you." Sweet ambiguity. For those who don't get it, the principal meant it as in you would be lucky if the teacher even worked because she is so lazy. In a group meeting that only tangentially impacted me, so I was on my laptop doing other work, not the only one in the meeting doing so. Co-worker asks, "How many provinces are there in Canada?" Notice the silence and look up. Everyone in the meeting is looking at me. Me, no idea. CW, seriously? Me, why would I? CW, amid chuckles of entire group in meeting. Well, you always have the answers to stupid crap like this. And that was how I learned I am essentially our group's go-to, for I don't want to Google this crap. And that most of my knowledge apparently appears trivial. Probably true TBH. When I was in the Navy, the guys in my shop would call me Bing, cause I knew lots of trivia, but I wasn't as good as Google. I liked the nickname though. Had a co-worker tell me I'm a waste of a good-looking guy because I don't like hunting and fishing. Just northern Wisconsin things, I guess. That's dumb. As long as you love the Packers, we good. My brother when he heard I graduated Magna CM Lord from college. Oh well, at least you tried. It's no Summa CM Lord though. I'm so lucky to have him in my life. Not realizing how hard exotic orchids are to grow, a guy said, your orchids are beautiful. You should try your hand with pansies, too. You're very handsome for a ginger. I've heard that countless times. Nobody likes us. I get it. Not true. I love gingers. You're the most beautiful sea I've ever seen, said a drunk Irish guy to me in Australia. I didn't know if he was complimenting me or not till the next day. Probably compliment, based off typical Irish dialogue, especially drunken dialogue. My former boss at the company Christmas party met my then girlfriend and now wife, and said in front of both of us I didn't think he could land a woman like her. I'm impressed. All I could do was give him eyeball daggers because he signed my paycheck for a while. It was especially slimy because I'm getting made fun of while he's quasi hitting on my girlfriend, a morbidly obese grown-up rich kid who had to make fun of his employees to feel good about himself. Freaking loser. You'd be surprised what having a good personality could get you. My friend was performing a song and played an awful chord that clashed very badly. After he was finished and asked me how it went, I said, "Great, you didn't mess up twice. Play it wrong once and it's wrong. Play it wrong twice, and it's jazz." I was the guilty party once. Guy hit on my friend for a while and she thought he was nice but never attracted to him. Soon after he is dating a model. Girl was actually a model. I was talking to my friend and said, what does she see in him? I mean, you weren't even interested in him. Realized a second later how that sounded and came across. Apologized immediately and said that wasn't how I meant it, and luckily my friend understood and didn't care. I still cringe when thinking about it. Not to me, but to my sister. My Mill, who straight out hates me, said to my sister on my wedding day, "Whoa, you really are pretty when you dress up." Here's the thing, my sis may not be a 10, but who really is, but she is very attractive. My sister said to me later she really is a B. Upon handing in my notice to go to a new job, after being passed over for promotion, "We'd love to see you back here again in the future, perhaps as promoted post." Matched with a girl on Tinder and she said, "You look like the great value Kit Harington." Needless to say, the wedding was called off shortly thereafter. During our breakup, I told my oldest son's father that he looks like the great value Tyson Beckford. He was livid, especially when he later told a mutual friend of ours and they burst out laughing and agreed. My first year of college, I gained some weight. When I came home for summer break I had lost most of it, and my mom's friend came over with her husband who told me, "Wow, you look great last time we saw you. You weighed a whole lot more, thanks, Alex, you dickhead." What I find so attractive about you is that other guys don't want you. Haha, thanks, Brian. That didn't freak up my self-esteem for years to come. Whoa, you can sing pretty well for a white girl, or you're pretty fast for a girl your size, or I'm so jealous you can get away without wearing makeup. Your husband is a great guy. The latter implying my husband was a great guy because he agreed to marry me even though I don't wear makeup. Ouch. Random lady at the hair salon. Ouch. Oh god, that last one hurts. I would have wanted to say something like, "Yeah, it's nice to have a husband who sees me as a person rather than an object to stick his dong in." "You're pretty smart for a Mexican." I reply with, "You're pretty dumb for a white person." In my experience, it's always a white person. The look of shock is so satisfying cause they honestly thought they were giving me a compliment. You're. My first time running a light board, my friend, this was the beginning of an 18-year friendship and more with my mentor, had just started teaching me and he was with me, but I was running it on my own, mistakes and all. After it was over, I asked something like, "How'd I do?" "Nobody died." Bwahahahaha. That's the best line and I use it quite often. Sadly, he passed from suicide about 10 years ago, so it's rather ironic, but we both have wicked senses of humor. I guess that's a lot of weight for your tiny frame. Someone to me after I hit a lifetime PR clean and jerk of 290 pounds, 131 kg, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. This isn't a backhanded compliment. but more of a did you just say that moment. My exes still hated him and me by proxy. She wasn't my favorite cup of tea either, so not a big loss. We were alone together one day and to make polite conversation, I told her I'd applied to my college's German study abroad program because we both studied German while in high school, and I did in college too. She said, "Don't you need a certain GPA for that?" I happily told her, "Yes, I have a 4.0 B." When I changed my haircut from kind of long to almost a buzz cut, the first thing one of my older female co-workers said was, "Cecile Raptor got a big boy haircut." I mean, dang, I know the old cut was kinda 80s, but I didn't ask to be murdered. I was getting information about a graduate geology course. Professor asked about my math background. Told him I'd gotten as far as integral calculus, and he said, "Nice. Can you walk on your hind legs too?" I left without another word. An Indian guy I'm pretty good friends with. I've never liked a British person this much. I'm not British. Well, only a little bit. "You look really good for your age." This came from a complete stranger who was trying to flirt with me when I was at work. Me thanks. But how old would that be? Guy like 40. Me dude, I'm not even 30 yet. But thanks. Know a woman's age before you try to compliment her on her looks. Otherwise her day will go so bad so fast. This kid was only 18 by the way, so he was most likely awkward and I definitely wasn't angry. I was more amused and a little disappointed. "Who did your lips? They look great." Left double quotation mark. I'm a guy. They're natural. My bottom lip jets out cause I have a massive underbite. Random musing from an Asian male friend who likes to constantly bring up how he prefers Caucasian females over all the other races. I don't normally find Chinese girls to be visually attractive, but you look okay for one. Gee, thanks. My friend returned from talking to people all frustrated. He said he just told the best joke and it went right over their heads. I told him he should be happy with himself as he is obviously of higher wit and intelligence compared to the group he was talking with. He smiled and agreed. Then I added, "After all, I say things that go over your head all the time." I got a new pair of glasses and a girl at work said, "What made you walk into the store and think those would look good on you?" Then followed it with, "But I really like them." "Your voice is low for a white guy." Yeah, I know. There was such a long line at the tank this morning that I didn't have time to get my usual drag of helium. "You're beautiful. I can definitely see that you model. If only you didn't have all that crap in your face in references to piercings I have." "You could model if you didn't have a fricked up smile." It came from a guy I had been sleeping with off and on for a few months. It killed me inside. He felt terrible after he realized that was the one area I was really sensitive about. My upper lip is fairly thin and I have large gums and a small teeth, so a lot of my gums are very visible when I smile. "You're lucky you don't have boobs." Whoa, you're doing a great job. I don't know how you do it. I could never do the work you do. It would drive me crazy. I'm a teacher, and I hear this one a lot. I've never taken it as backhanded though. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.